I don't even know what episode Rule Zero this is because we keep passing it around. So this is the next episode, whatever that is, of Rule Zero. I am Rollo Tomassi, as you can see by my nice little StreamYard Chiron here. We were supposed to be Cobra Commander, though. I was supposed to be Cobra Commander. I think Rich was supposed to be Destro.
No, I want to be the leader of the Decepticons.
You want to be the... Oh, okay.
Megatron.
Megatron,
or maybe like Lothar of the Hill People or something. I don't know. Fuck.
If anybody wants, if our audio kind of sucks, let us know, please, because we're still kind of trying to balance out like all these new mics. And I know you're on a cloud lifter right now, and I'm on a cloud lifter as well. So still trying to dial in that sweet spot. We're gonna have Troy on later on. Rich, we've only got Rich Cooper for about 45 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes. So
yeah.
So today is kind of. We're gonna do things a little bit fast and loose here. I don't like doing shows like this, and I feel like we kind of have to do this show because the shit that's been going on in the manosphere for the last going on 4 months right now, it deserves, I think, at least some kind of response. And
here's your red meat, you filthy animals.
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay, here's the thing. I don't think it dereserves a response, but it deserves a response. You know, if you know what I'm saying here.
Ethically speaking, yeah.
Ethically, I think, well, here's the deal is John, you and I talked about this on your show yesterday. And today we're going to address the whole issue between myself and Anthony Johnson and myself and the Red Man Group, which, of course, 3 of us were, key players in the Red Man Group. So we can talk about that a little bit today. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know. I have been just happy to let Anthony sort of implode on his own. I think anybody who's been following along with this stupid, middle school bullshit drama can see that now. The reason that we're doing this at this stage is because Anthony decided that a couple days ago he wanted to put out a video explaining why I am the evil Cobra Commander these days. And so I think we wanted to just sort of clear the air. I'm going to do this once. If you have questions about it, we'll take questions from the chat. I don't have phones or anything like that set up for my setup here. At some point, I really want to do it, though. So I will take questions, but first off, I want to just sort of go around here, and I want to get everybody's sort of take on Anthony's latest video. I know I'm kind of have reservations about actually playing it. I mean, did we want to go step by step or anything like that, or do we want to? Because I only got you for a little bit, Rich, so I wanted to set that up. But
I think that most of the people that are sitting here in the chat right now have probably seen it already. The fucking fuckery that it was.
They're better people than me.
I mean,
did you watch it?
No. Well, let's put it this way, guys. Let's put it this way. Like, I'm sitting there with my daughter, and all of a sudden, my phone's blowing up with damn notifications with people sending me this horse shit. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, here we go again, fuck. And I didn't think I was going to be mentioning it because I haven't been involved in this since February 4th. Like, literally, I checked my text message threads because the last time I really communicated with Anthony was when I said I'm out February 4th. Of course, there was a lot of drama and manufactured indignation, like a girl. For many weeks and months after that, there was like Rollo, like when you got thrown out, I started to see things like memes being created with you, me, and Ryan sitting at like an apprentice table with girls' hair on it, with Anthony sitting at the table going, "You're fired," and it's like, bitch, I quit. Okay, let's get stuff straight here. Okay,
dude, I posted screens with it too.
I know. It's like, the amount of lies and the layers of BS that have been manufactured out of this, like, I've never seen anything like this. Like, let it go, man. It's like, this was February 4th. We're now September 14th. We're talking 9 months later, practically. And this, like, I've had BPD ex-girlfriends that have not bothered me this long, right? I don't know what's going on, but I get that he's pissed, right? I mean, Rollo and I were the biggest ticket sellers in like the fall of last year at the last big main event. I mean, I sold more tickets than anybody else. Rollo came in second. Between the two of us, we probably filled at least half of that space, right? Facts, right? So when I left, I guess, of course, he's upset. But I mean, dude, we had Rollo, me, and Anthony had lots of conversations together to try to resolve the issues that I brought up that I believed were fair. Rollo, you can speak to that when you want to, or just jump in if you want.
Well, I was just going to say is that there's I said this on John's show yesterday. It is an order of magnitude greater to debunk bullshit than it is to create bullshit.
Yeah.
And so here we are trying to debunk this bullshit. I think I left this shit alone. All right. I left it alone because I figured people were smart enough to figure things out. When all of this shit went down, let's just clear the air here. First of all, I was let go. Okay. I didn't quit. I didn't tell anybody to quit. I had no plans of quitting the shows. In fact, one of the reasons why I stuck around so long is because I wanted to do Poland. I wanted to do the Orlando event because I knew we were already selling tickets for that. I already played it up. I always I was advertising.
Oh, and the food in Poland, Rollo. Oh, the food.
Yeah, shit. I'm sorry.
Save the memes for later, Ryan.
Yeah, exactly. But so I had every intent to go and do what I wasn't even contracted to do. And I think people need to understand that Anthony has never had he's never paid a speaker's fee. He's proudly says he's never paid a speaker's fee. He has no contracts with any of his speakers. Nobody signs a contract that says you agree to be here on this day and do and speak for X amount of hours. It's a handshake. It's hey, will you speak at my event? Yeah, okay, great. You're on. That was the whole thing.
And it's a shitty handshake too, because as a speaker, you don't even own your content, right? I mean, I could ask Anthony for my last talk; he'll never give it to me. I've already asked him. It was never produced.
Yeah, well, he owns, and that's it's
so
interesting.
Not only am I bringing the audience to your room, I'm also not able to keep the
you're giving away your
talk.
IP.
Yeah, the talk that I give away. I mean, this guy creates nothing. What he does is he puts a room together, and then he bills speakers to bring their audience into the room. So I mean, to have the audacity, to have the balls on you to sit there and proclaim yourself the president of the Manosphere, keep it, dude. Keep the gay nightclub. I don't care. I don't want to be part of it. You know what?
I'm out.
I proclaim that we now call this group of men that are rational and that have their heads screwed on right, the rational men.
Hey.
Fuck the Manosphere. Fuck it. Let them keep it.
Yep. I like that. I did not.
It's a stupid name anyway.
Okay, right now, tell everybody I did not put you up to that.
No, you didn't, dude. I just said it because it makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Nobody fucking controls Rich.
Yeah, let's be honest. Well, and that's why I was the first guy to leave. I mean, let's look at the numbers. Who else left this year? Me, Rollo, you were let go. Ryan, you quit. John, I think you were let go.
I was let go.
Dino.
Who else was Bobby Dino quit from
gone.
what I saw. Jack
Murphy quit.
Jack Murphy left. So that's
Donovan's gone.
Donovan who?
Oh, is he?
Donovan Sharp.
Donovan Sharp's out?
I don't know that. I do not know that.
I think it's well, he left Redman Group. So.
Okay, well there's close to like 10 people.
He hasn't been on Redman Group for a while. I know that, but
let's put it this way, guys. There's like close to 10 people that have fucking bounced since I left. And I saw the writing on the wall back then, and I said, look, guys, I don't see this as working out. We're at an impasse. I'm out, right? And
dude, yours was such a reasonable thing to do. All you had to do was a little bit of like management.
Well, all I asked, I mean, it would have just been a tweet with me saying, I'm parting ways and that's it. All I asked them to do was take down the video of me promoting the event. I was on a website. I was in the promotional video that he was distributing everywhere. I asked the guy 4 times over, I think, 3 days or so. It was over several days anyway. Take down the video. And if you don't take it down, I have to make a public announcement letting people know that I'm not going to be there and why I'm not going to be there. So I did. And I didn't do anything disparaging. I didn't, what did you say? What do you call it? Traitor, sabotage. There's all kinds of... There's all kinds of bizarre words that he used to describe it. Like I was trying to take down his convention. Like, dude, I've said nothing. I've published no video since that video that I put out in February about me leaving. I've said nothing publicly disparaging about him. There's been a lot of memes and a lot of funny shit. And I've actually gone out of my way not to engage them, retweet them, or like them or anything like that. I just let it go. And then all of a sudden, halfway through the year, I get a message from one of his henchmen asking me to sign a non-disclosure agreement. This is shortly after Rollo left.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people know that. Is that right after all the shit went down with me that he requested, I guess, demanded that all of his speakers sign a non-disclosure agreement. I know Donovan signed one. I'm pretty sure Hunter has signed one. And I'm like, why would you have them do all of that at this stage? And the only thing I can think of is that this is part of like a larger kind of scheme of Anthony. I don't think a lot of people really realize how scheming he is, and how
maybe he just learned how to do a business finally and get contracts and shit.
Maybe
guys. Okay, so as a resident entrepreneur here,
good point.
Yeah.
like as a resident guy that runs businesses, and I've coached Anthony. I mean, I wish he would have listened a little bit more. He runs, he's got a talent to run events, but the problem is that he's not focusing on the business. Build your business. I mean, if you have something to say, if you have something to prove, show me. Go do it, buddy. Stop talking. Stop. Like, could you imagine what this guy was thinking when he was creating the artwork for President of the Manosphere Seal? Like, what was going through his head? Like, okay, buddy, I'll send that over to you. You're paying me, right? I mean, like,
dude, Rollo and I used to be graphic designers.
Go and
like cringing.
Go and do it, man. Like, lead the people if you're able to do it. But why is everybody leaving your event, or why is everybody having to be fired? And why are we manufacturing stories about Rollo bringing in Nelly Bowles? I was there. I was sitting at the table that night. I'm in the video, sitting at the table that he published. I was involved in pretty much the entire process in a private chat group, and I saw no evidence of Rollo personally telling her to get to that event. And let's say that he did.
Yeah.
And let's say that he did for a second.
So what?
Everybody else was taking pictures of the event and tagging it, right?
Yeah.
Indicating where we were.
Rich,
And
you're the only one who kept like the fucking objects legit. You're the only one who kept the identity of the location legit.
I was the only
Find a
one that
photo of
didn't
me.
tag
I was
the
there with
location.
Ed.
Yeah.
Just for one photo of me.
Yeah, but it's like why has this story been manufactured about Rollo being the fraud father, or whatever it is that they're sticking to it? And then we have these clowns, these faceless clowns like DDJ, Bob Lewis, this guy who like
Paralegal, not even a fucking lawyer.
Who are these people that he's collaborating with? We're getting this. What's that guy's name that did that video on me, John? Obi Jobi or Yobi Obi?
Oh, Yogi Obes or whatever.
Yogi Obes. We got Yogi Obes. Who's with Redman. We got DDJ, and these guys put like response videos together because they got nothing to do, because they got nothing to create. So what do? They talk about us. They talk about me and Rollo, right? It's like, this is a guy that is taking nooses off men's necks. He's taking guns out of men's mouths by solving problems with these books here that are on my bookshelf. He saves fucking lives. What do you clowns do out there that are putting out this content and making seals and declaring yourself God of the universe? I'm done.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Well,
dude, I am thankful for Anthony Johnson. I think it's the greatest thing ever. He's managed to hobble a business together for 10 years, which has given me the most amazing confidence in my ability to run a business. I now know where the floor is, and I know I can do better than that.
Yeah.
And so I want to thank him, because I was scared shitless about starting this.
You know what? If it wasn't for Anthony, so let's be thankful. I would have never have met Rian Stone, probably John. Fuck you, Rollo, for inviting me to the convention, but thank you. I still love you like a brother.
It's funny. Is like there was a point where Anthony was trying to make stupid legal demands from me, and one of those demands was that I apologize to the manager.
Yeah. Okay, apologize for what precisely?
Here's your apology. My apology is this: I'm sorry for introducing anybody to all of this bullshit, to introducing anybody to actually making you familiar with the name Anthony the Dream Johnson. If everybody knows this about me, I'm trusting to a fault. Okay, I'll get fucked over because I am far too, like, you guys were laughing at me. You're like, oh, well, that's just the way things are. You've been red pill about women for a long time. You need to get red pill about men, and that's exactly where all this is at. And it's like, I get to the point where it's like, I think, okay, I can work with this person. Okay, I can build something. And yes, you're goddamn right. I thought that this was going to be a really great red pill summit. I thought things were going very well. I mean,
it was pretty good too.
The numbers are right there. He's never had a more successful, more profitable event than when you and I and everybody else came on and we started changing things up from his old purple pill events. I mean, I've posted this on several occasions. In 2016, he was going on, what was it, a Kickstarter or something like that, about trying to generate $21,000 so he could get the event going back then. I come in 2017, he has the most successful event, ever, and now and this, it's like, what at what point do you not
It was like this: 2017 great event, 2018 best event ever back in the fall due to Rollo and I leave. Then there's the follow-up one, for the fathers. And I get he's pissed, right? Because I'm gone, Rollo's gone. I don't know why he threw Rollo out. That was the stupidest movie ever made. I'm not sure where he got that idea from. And then he gets all the chargebacks, from these guys. So he's out money too. But why would you promise to bill somebody at an event and then throw them out of the event and still expect to get money from people? Like, that's deceptive business practices.
Yeah, well, that's
right?
and that's I talked about this on John's show yesterday. That's why I put out,
and that's also why I made my announcement video, because it's like, guys, I'm not going to be there. Like, there's a video out there, and I'm not going to be there. So please understand that.
Right. And
hey, John, I hear your takedown video was good too.
Yeah, I crushed it.
It's pretty good. Yeah. If you want the more, the less polite version of this show, you can go check out John's show.
Dude, Rollo, we crushed it. We did a 3-hour stream breaking down everything. And honestly, if anybody's in the audience and wants to know literally A to Z
details,
what has happened, go to my channel right here, Modern Life Dating on YouTube. Watch the most recent episode. Rollo called in. We did a complete breakdown. And literally no stone is unturned. We just did it here on Rollo's platform because honestly, he indicated that Rollo was part of this, and he put a picture of me, he put a picture of Rollo, and he put a picture of Ryan. And
was it a good one?
It was a picture of your website, so it was okay.
Yes.
And he
as long as I look good.
They put a picture of Rich and said, like, we were all responsible for the $40,000 that he had received in refunds.
How exactly is it my fault that you can't run a fucking business?
He's hamstring like a girl.
Like, this guy points and sputters more than a toxic feminist. I've never seen anybody take, like, no ownership the way that this guy does. And it's like, if your business isn't running and people are not sticking to the convention, the only person you have to blame is the guy you look at in the mirror every single morning. It's nobody else's fault but your own. Learn how to run a business. Hire a coach that will teach you how to run a business. And I'm not fucking working for you. Fuck it.
No, I know, exactly. Well, and here's the thing is I told him this way back in, first of all, I said the biggest thing that we have to fear in all of this is not from the outside, it's from the inside. Okay. And there's a lot of egos that are involved. I mean, we all like to think of ourselves as alpha males, right? We all, and if I in some way suggested that your name should be added to the list of speakers, you're a personality. You have an ego. Okay. Everybody in this chat right now has an ego. I have an ego. You have everyone we have. And it's like, you're trying to wrangle all these egos. So it's like I don't think he understood what was dropped in his lap. Okay. I'm saying, okay, I'll endorse your event. I'll be, and I said, and he was correct. I said, I'll be a silent partner. I don't want to be a partner with you. I don't want to have anything to do with all this stuff because I'm a writer and this is my gig. Okay. But I will help you. I will suggest names, right? I mean, I say everybody, well, with the exception of John, all you guys, I suggested your names to come in and be a part of all of this. Hunter, I suggested his name. Even AJ Cortez, it's the same guy. I mean, everybody that's been on this, Alan Roger Curry, Donovan, bringing Donovan on as a host for RMG, all of this stuff. It's like, that's not me glossing myself or pretending like I'm Christ. Okay. It's me being cool with you. It's me saying, hey, check out these guys. Tell me what you think. Maybe we should have them on. It's this discussion. It's not like I said, God damn it, you better have these guys on there. I'm quitting. That's what he would like everyone to believe. But it's like, all I am is telling this stuff to you guys, telling him, like, making these suggestions, and he's going with them. And as a result of that, he's had the most successful events he's ever had. And he doesn't understand. I don't think he has the business acumen to understand that he's dealing with a lot of egos and he's trying to direct traffic all the time. So somebody like maybe I don't get along with Stefan Molyneux. Maybe Pat Campbell doesn't get along with him. Maybe you guys don't get along with me. Maybe there's some. It's like you have to know.
His Afro-American cast doesn't get along with Stefan Molyneux.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like at what point do you like? I think he had too. It's like too much, too young, too fast. Right? You get too much, and you have all of this sudden, success, and he doesn't know what to do with it. And so, as a result,
where's the success exactly? Where?
Well, I mean, success in a relative sense between like what he had before you and I came on and what he's now going to be experiencing after.
Well, like here's the facts. I mean, about a year ago, there was a lot of dialogue back and forth about growth on YouTube and stuff. And I mean, today I checked the stats because somebody sent me a message earlier, and I didn't realize, but I'm getting feedback somewhere. Where's that coming from?
Sorry, that's me. There we go.
And I get like 3 times the views. Me, one guy, I get 3 times the views in a 30-day period than his entire 21 convention channel gets. Right? I mean, if Rollo and I wanted to conspire to destroy that, wouldn't we have created our own convention?
Right.
I mean, wouldn't we like book a hall and invite you guys to it, sort of thing, and do that? Like, where is the collusion exactly? This is like some what is the whole Donald Trump collusion with Russia sort of thing? Like, I know he thinks he's Donald Trump or the son of Donald Trump or something, but like, apparently Rollo and I were colluding while we were in Florida together with Elliot Hulse and Anthony. The only reason why Elliot Hulse became a speaker was because I brought him in. I encouraged Anthony to bring him in because I think he's got some talent. Plus, he also has a great audience, right? A great audience of men that look up to him as a father that they never had. Elliot's become a friend. I like the guy.
Yeah.
He's got something to say. He's interesting. He's smart. He's well spoken. But I brought him in. I brought in Sean Smith as well. I mean, I brought in people as well. Not as many as Rollo. But where exactly is the collusion if Rollo and I completely supported the build up and the production of the whole thing? But what it really is walking away. And as soon as you walk away and you realize that
it's the only power you got.
Exactly. Precisely. Now, where did we exactly collude when we were in the Lamborghini, Rollo? I mean, like, we're building this big master plan to take apparently the narrative is you were planning to overthrow that's right. Hostile takeover of Redman Group, which probably has like 50 viewers live right now.
44.
Are they on right now?
Oh, 44?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Congratulations. What are we at? Almost 1,300. So, a hostile takeover of something that only existed because we ran it, right? I mean, the only reason why it grew so fast was because we kicked it off mostly on my channel and the 21 channel. I mean, Rollo didn't even have a channel at that time. Yeah. So, we got that thing going, and we got it going as a project to sort of collaborate and do all these things. But it's just like, every once in a while you realize when you're in business that you get in business with the wrong person. And the minute that you should leave and quit or walk or sell your shares, the minute that you realize that you're in business with the wrong person. That's what I did. That's why I chose to walk. There was no collusion. There was no, he said something in the video about, well, Richard, if there was any time that you should stand up and be a man, like you preach to everybody and own your blah, 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 and all that sort of stuff and tell us, it's like, we weren't talking about you, buddy. You know what we were talking about? Cars, the fishing trip.
Fishing trip was great.
How it would be interesting to see how Elliot gets along at the next convention and what he would talk about. Why this shitty ass old Lamborghini doesn't shift gears properly. It's just like standard guy stuff, right? Like that's the conversations that we have. But it's a lot easier to tell a narrative and then show a video of Rollo and I together in the car blowing by them. Here we go. We're going to talk all about screwing over everybody. Let's go now. Follow us.
Yeah. I mean, you have to understand that when we were like, when we did that video, I'm like, this is not going to go over very well. I had a feeling that it was going to be a bad thing. But I went through with it because I'm locked in. I was part of the gig.
Hey,
the whole thing.
I took time away.
You
didn't get paid for any of it. I went down there to go and support it. We created content. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I realized through that 3 or 4 days that we were together, and with the stuff that was happening afterwards, that I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. Mm-hmm. And guess what? I don't have a contract with you. I don't agree to a certain number of talks. Mm-hmm. I'm not obligated to go and do things. I can walk. What are you going to do? What exactly are you going to do but make videos and point and sputter like a little bitch?
Well, here's the other thing is I think a lot of people are starting to see this side of Anthony, and I always kind of knew he was a little bit off, but I didn't realize that until it was you, myself, and Anthony, and Anthony's secretary George. I guess who that guy was. It was us
George
no, not George Bruno. George.
There's another George holding water.
George K, the guy with the curly hair.
Yeah, I can just imagine George Bruno wearing a skirt serving coffee. I don't
know. When Rich split, and when all that shit went down, there were 4 people in that conversation. DDJ was not one of those people. So So just anything that you're hearing about that through DDJ is 100% false. Okay, it is exactly the same bullshit that he did with Rich when Rich left. He had to put something out through a third party to make it like everything that DDJ did about you, Rich, and that video that came after your departure.
I didn't even watch it.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. And I don't.
That's how you said I wasn't it.
But that is, and he did exactly the same thing with me. It's like, what on earth? Why would I want to take over that? He said, well, here's some video, or here's an email where Rollo is trying to do a hostile takeover. Now, here's the thing, because you guys were involved in this process. When Rich left, I had at least 2 or 3 different Skype calls with you, Ryan, and Donovan, and Carl, and everybody else. What are we going to do? How are we going to go forward with the Red Man Group in this way? And we, over the series of like maybe 2 or 3 Skype calls, we decided what we wanted to do. One of those options was me taking over the show, and me, making sure that you guys are getting paid. And
let me just talk about that for a sec, because I'm only on for another half an hour. So let me just touch on that real quick, because the narrative that DDJ and Anthony are trying to get you guys to believe is that email that Rollo said about us handing over RMG to Rollo and taking it over for free or whatever it was. That's essentially the wording in the email. But the way that I took it was Rollo was trying to be a sober second thinker between squabbling siblings. It was like me and him were at each other about what to do with Red Man Group, and Rollo said, "You know what? Just give it to me. I'll run it. We'll keep it separate from everything, and let me go do it." And you guys have seen the email. It's not like I'm telling you anything that hasn't been shown.
Governance, though.
It's basic, but where's the hostile? Like, what are you hostilely going to take over? It has no value. What exactly was the value of Red Man Group at the time? What did it have? Like 6,000 or 10,000 subscribers or something?
It was under 10 at that point.
Like the valuation on it was next to nothing. I mean, it was like probably 12 or 15 grand if you had a accounting firm do like a proper EBITDA evaluation.
We had all of 3 grand in the bank account.
Yeah, it was fucking peanut. It was like nothing. So change. Yeah. And all we did one day was we said, "Hey guys, it's been a while. We haven't seen each other," sort of thing. This was after you got let go, and it's like, "Do you guys want to hang out again?" It's like, "Yeah, why don't we do something? Well, do you want to put on a channel, or how do you want to do it?" Fuck it, let's make it decentralized. We'll just kind of move it around. We'll call it something. We called it Rue Zero, and that's all we did. So where is the big collusion to go and the whole destructo of Cobra Command taking out of the Red Man Group? Nobody cares.
Is this a joke, or did he actually use these G.I. Joe references?
No, we're just using it for fun.
Oh, thank God.
Somebody in the chat actually.
Somebody in the comment or the chat used it. It was really, it was really well placed.
Clever bastards.
Rollo is now Cobra Commander, and Rich is now Destro.
I'm Snake Eyes.
It's like the way you win in business, guys. The way you win in business is by demonstrating. You go and do it. You don't yap about it. It's the same thing, with women. You don't yap about, "Oh, I'm awesome at all this." Go be awesome. Go make money. Go make bank. Go buy the hot cars. Go do it. Stop talking about it. Stop pointing and sputtering at people and playing the victim card. The victim card is what toxic feminists do. Yeah. Oh, I'm so oppressed, the patriarchy. I'm not able to make a good pay because everybody else gets paid $1 and I get paid 73 cents. That's not fair. Wah! Right?
If you're a real man, you get in your Toyota Tacoma, you turn on that GoPro, and you film a 20-minute rant, damn it, like a man. That's how you do it.
Do it. And then,
there's murderers over there.
And then take her out dancing and buy her dinner. And then when she gets home, make sure Chad calls her to come over and pork her.
Jeez.
Because you ain't doing it, George.
Who
you can catch her when she's 60.
Does anybody okay, look, I don't know how many guys are actively fucking, but you do not take a girl to let's go have dinner, put our stomachs filled with food, and then go dancing. At the end of the night, she's not going to have sex with you, dude. If you want to have sex, you go out with a girl, you have drinks, or you go have a coffee. That's it. One over the other. That's it. You don't go. I mean, this is not 1955 and Marty McFly and the fucking the enchantment under the sea.
To get that reference.
It's come on, dude. What are you doing? I don't know. It's just unbelievable how this guy who is old, senile, and sexless is giving advice on dating. Dude, just stay in your lane. Cut hair.
George Bruno is one of a group of guys who, when they were at the Patriarchs Convention, decided to all get around a table at Socrates' house and find a way to get rid of me. I know this for a fact. It was being tweeted to the conversation was pretty much being like play by played to me at that time because I didn't attend at that point. I had a lot of things going for me at the Patriarchs Convention. If you guys were at the Patriarchs Convention and I seemed kind of preoccupied, it's because my mom was put in the hospital when I got to the damn hotel. That's not bullshit. That's actually for real. And I'm making decisions for my mother while I am, a country away. And so I was doing that, but like at this same time, like right after the convention, there's always a party, or there's always, a speaker's party. And it was at this convention that guys like George Bruno, guys like Hunter Drew, all the guys that you see in those pictures where they're sitting around that round table, those are the guys. And those are the guys that are still left on the the speakers tour, with the exception of Bobby Dino.
Ooh, can I clarify one thing quick, Rollo, though? I just want you guys to know, so when we had these parties at these events, not once did any of us break into operatic song.
Yeah,
or eat a bunch of cupcakes or dance on tables. I'd like to think you think of us as having more dignity than that. It seems important that people know this. And this is what's really important.
It is important, though.
We're not lame when we have dinner.
Well, it is important because I think that there is you're starting to see a demarcation between the guys who are the adults and the guys who are in this as who simply have not matured past a certain point. I've written an essay, actually 2 essays on the adolescent social skill set, and a lot of these guys still have that adolescent social skill set. I hate to say it, but George Bruno still relies on his adolescent social skill set, and they're still thinking in terms. I mean, that's why this seems like little kids playing war in the backyard to these guys.
Let me just chime in here for a sec. So, guys, like Business 101 is you build your brand in your business, and it is beyond me the amount of men that I see on Twitter that are putting so much effort and time and energy into, and I did it too. So, obviously I have to, at least admit that I learned from it. Yeah. But it's like the ongoing fuckery of these guys yapping and going on about supporting that particular manosphere mission or whatever it is that they're doing. Why aren't you building your own brand? Why aren't you building your own business? Like, are you drunk on this Kool-Aid that you're drinking? Like,
I literally said that yesterday, Rich.
Can you not see the reality of these things, gentlemen out there? Some of you are smart. I mean, guys, I did a video on my channel, The Drama, The Problem with the Manosphere. Go watch it, okay? There's some smart guys out there, and I know you can do better. Mm-hmm. You can do better. Just go and fucking do it, please. Yeah. I mean, build it up. Do it. Stop talking. Do.
There's a part of me that says, I mean, Anthony's got some serious psychological issues to deal with. Okay. But the other side of that is he's also listening to a group of guys that do not have his best interests in mind.
Yeah. Let's be real honest. One second. Let's be honest, real. Look, we are all educated men on this panel. Does anybody actually think that this inbred idiot is the one who wrote that fucking speech that he's reading off the teleprompter? 100%. That's that MGTOW guy, DDJ, who wrote that speech, and he's just reading it like a puppet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and exactly. And so I think that he's taking
a lot of retards.
Well, I think at some point somebody sold him on the idea that because of the 2020 election cycle that's coming up right now, it would serve him better to go in a more political way, to make everything more about like what was going on at the Patriarchs Convention. I was cool with that. I was cool with going and speaking at the Patriarchs Convention, but it's like I was there because they basically wanted my name on that. And, I did my piece with I didn't look my best, but I did my piece with Pat Campbell at that and went in, did what I was going to do. And there were people there that I didn't want to have any association with. I didn't want to have my brand co-branded with Stefan Molyneux. I mean, if you're a fan of Stefan Molyneux, that's great, but that's not what I'm about. And I don't want to have my name associated with that. I don't want to have my name associated with Richard Spencer. I don't want to have my name associated with Mike Cernovich. I don't want to have my name associated because that, nothing against those guys, but that's their shit. And this is my shit. Okay. And when you get that many people together, like I was saying, there's a lot of egos, there's a lot of brands, and every goddamn thing I said in the State of the Manosphere address last year has come to pass. Exactly everything to the fucking letter that I said was going to happen happened. And it's the brand of me. And here you have Anthony, who is trying to to wrangle a lot of guys with a lot of egos who all have their own brands, they're all making their money off of this gig. Okay.
Well, they all say they're making their money.
Yeah,
off
they
the
all
gig.
say they are. Well, I mean, it's like, and I nothing against Hunter. I like Hunter. I suggested Hunter. I brought him on. You know, there were some times where I had some doubts about Hunter. I still think he's a great guy. But I think that, well, okay, fine. But I brought him in and I thought he had something to add to all of this. And it's like, that, like right now, I think here's a guy who quit his day job to go and do this full time. And if you look at a guy like Pat Stedman, if you look at a guy like DDJ now, if you look at a guy like, I mean, Anthony's been doing this since he was 17 years old. He's been organizing these events. He knows nothing else. He's never gone to school. He just has no business background. He has nothing. This guy's supposed to be this brilliant entrepreneur, and he has no education on how to run a business beyond organizing an event. What else? I mean, how is he going to make a buck after all of this?
Dude, if I had $40,000 in chargebacks this week, I wouldn't even fucking care. It doesn't matter to me. But it's like the end of the universe, right?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is, like, when Hunter decided he wanted to go along with Anthony, I understand that, because his revenue is now dependent on going to these events, doing the things that he's doing.
Here,
and that's
Rollo, you mind if I chime in on that part too? Because Hunter and I essentially came out at the same time. We came out of the red closet, and we're both. And I did the same thing where I'm like, I left my job behind. I'm giving it a year, make this thing as big as I can, and if it does well, then I'm sticking with it. Otherwise, I'm going either back to corporate or starting something else, whatever. The thing I don't get is that you have to, if you're business savvy, you have to understand risk mitigation. You just do. So I already knew as soon as we started the Red Man Group, for example, we're not getting paid for it. So we have no sense of ownership over it. So I have no control over it. I have no say in how it's run. Things can change and I'll have no say in it. Easy thing to realize is that I can either sit there and you said, yeah, eventually we want you guys to get paid what you're worth. Until I see a check, I just assume it's all wish fulfillment, whatever. So I start my own brand. I start my own channel, my own podcast, make my own things. And that's my mitigation. I love doing the Red Man Group because I was with you guys and we got to talk about this stuff. It built a brand. But I had no illusions. 21 Convention, same thing. I didn't get paid to go. He set me up in a hotel because while I don't mind not getting paid to go, I'm not going to pay to go give him IP. That's just ridiculous.
Obviously.
So I went in there with the expectation going, whatever happens is what happens. If I have to walk away and leave it all behind, then so be it. And sure enough, that is what happens. So I was ready for the worst case scenario. The part that bothers me is if you're building a brand, and I'm new at this, so take this with a grain of salt from a guy with some corporate military experience who's applying it here. If you haven't planned for you to get Bobby Dino'd and have a secondary plan that's just as good, if not better, then I think you're going to be a great cautionary tale in the next 12 months. And I've made that very clear. In 12 months, we're going to see who's still standing, who is smart about this, and who's going to end up being bankrupt and who's been living off of credit. So that's all I'll say there is time's going to show what will happen here. Focus on what gets you laid. Don't focus on what gives you the outrage. And yeah, I am talking smack about the 1,200 people watching this live right now. Sorry, but somebody had to tell you.
1,400.
Yeah. So I want to give Rich some more time here because I know he's got to go here. But yeah, I think that's pretty. You left because of a situation with.
Dude, I soft next is after the Rich thing. I didn't go to Patriarchs. I didn't put my name in. As soon as I saw that, as soon as Bruno put that, I follow orders and take orders, and then you asked where you were on RMG, I'm like, I sent a DM to fucking Dildo there, and look, man, this has been a great experience. Like how you break up with somebody. Look, man, this has been a fun experience. Wish you the best in all future endeavors. He starts fucking chiming in. I'm like, yeah, thank you very much for your time, and that was it.
Yeah.
Then the rest, I might as well have some fun with it. If he's gonna lash out anyway, I might as well fuck with him. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, apparently he fired you too, right, Ryan? Even though you quit.
Dude, I put this every time he posts that stupid Trump meme. I put the screenshot underneath where I told him thank you very much, and I'll leave now.
Yeah. I got them. I got the message from the guys in the Signal chat when we were still all together, and I went and looked to see if I was locked out from the YouTube channel. I had already been locked out, and I was already locked out of the bank account from the LLC. So this had been in the works for a while, and I would suggest it was in the works since the Patriarch convention. in that meeting.
That's because you disobeyed a direct order from the president of the
president of the United States. Yeah, president of the manosphere. Yeah. Well, and I think and what I wanted to talk with Rich about is like there was a time like where I was dealing with Anthony, and it was just the two, like him and myself, and I'm trying to say, look, I'll help you out with these things. I'm glad you had a good event. And we were working this out. There's always been something about Anthony has just been a little bit off, and I think a lot of people saw that, and I didn't see that because I guess I was like kind of too close, and I was really kind of hoping that this could like explode into a Red Pill Summit, because I still to this day think that there needs to be a Red Pill Summit. There still needs to be something, because guys want to come and see us face to face. They want to talk to us. I think that should be more in a workshop setting now, because I thought that was a whole lot better than sitting in front of a podium and like giving speeches and stuff, sermonizing. But there needs to be something where guys can get together and talk one-on-one and swap notes. And I said that back when I did the Man in Demand conference in 2015. So that was my hope for all of this. But when all the shit went down with DDJ splitting up with TFM and Anthony having like sort of backroom deals with DDJ, unbeknownst to myself and Rich, Rich caught the heat from that. And that's when I realized that Anthony is making deals with guys behind all of our backs. He doesn't play well with others. And when Rich told him no, when Rich said, no, I'm done, I'm out, fuck you, that's when you see that like spurg come out. That's when you see that kind of like, that kind of look.
Well, it's nothing short of a hissy fit, really, is all it boils down to.
It's a tantrum. It's a tantrum.
Yeah.
And I think right now it's getting to the point where he's realizing what the financial revenue consequences have been for dropping me, and for you leaving, and for Ryan taking off, and for everybody, his shakeup. That's what he's done, is he's decided that he wants to go in a different direction. I'll tell you the thing is if he would have come to me and he would have said, look, I'm going to take the event in a political way. I want to have Cernovich on. I want to have Molyneux on. I want to have all these other guys on. I want it to be more. I want to have a spiritual content on there. I want it to be more trad con. I would have been like, cool, via con Dios, man. You take your thing and go do your thing. I'm not going to be a part of that, but you can go ahead and do that. I would not have badmouthed. I think he probably thought I was going to badmouth him or anything, but me just leaving or Rich just leaving is a removal of endorsement.
But the same thing happened with Rich. See, Rich's problem was there's a security issue. Now, maybe Anthony is right, and Florida, everybody being armed makes it the safest place in the world. Let's assume that's true. At that point, all he has to do is give some assurances to Rich. Make him feel good about it. Mm-hmm. You aren't a manager if you can't manage people like that. Mm-hmm. If you can't sell somebody on your very stringent security plans, then you have no business running anything.
Yeah. Well,
that's all he had to do. A couple nice words to Rich, maybe even some token security theater is huge. Sometimes just the appearance of security is enough secure. I'm not saying that it would have worked, Rich. I'm just saying, for example.
Well, there's lots more tied into it too, because there was a big hit campaign done by the MGTOWs with DDJ and his little band of cronies.
Yeah, and they came after you. Because
they put away their sex dolls and they came out in droves with pitchforks.
They came after Rich because
they pulled their testosterone together.
There was one part doll bangers who were coming at me, and I was getting the blame for whatever happened between DDJ and TFM, and I'm not sure why. So there was that, and then we also had retarded speakers that were egging on incels on social media on an ongoing basis, and I'm like, why would you tell people to come at you on this date and time at this event when you got the guy that's running the event encouraging everybody to bring their guns into the event? It's like, there's a problem here. Are we on the same page? Do we not recognize it? And then I heard there was some nonsense about, well, he's just Canadian. He doesn't understand the amendment rights and all that bullshit.
Of course, that's where he was going to go with that.
Bitch, I own 4 guns. I like to shoot them on a regular basis, and I'm very good with them. I understand firearms. In fact, the only reason why we went out to that firearm range that you saw photography with in that video was because he reached out to me. And I brought Anthony out there. I invited Rollo. He didn't have time for it, and Elliot wasn't quite ready. But that happened because of me, right? The reason why that guy is going to show up is because of me, right? So suggesting that I'm afraid of guns or some nonsense like that, suck it, buddy.
Yeah, well, and that was what he had to fall back on. And I think that this is sort of that adolescent social skill set coming out. It's like, okay, he's out, so I have to hit him back. I have to make it look like it's his fault. And that's really what this new video that Anthony's got out there right now, that's what this is all about, because he's seeing the numbers drop. He's seeing the revenue fall. You notice we didn't see any shots.
Hey, is that Georgie?
What?
George Bruno in the chat. What's up, Georgie?
Hey, cool.
It's got to be a fake. It's got to be a fake.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that is or it's not. But I was just going to say here is that when all that shit went down, when TFM decided, or excuse me, when DDJ decided to part ways with TFM, he had to have known that that was going to cause a schism in the MGTOW community. I asked Anthony at that time, do you have, you guys are watching that. I asked him if he had some sort of backroom deal going on with DDJ at that point. He told me no. But yet a week later, he's on DDJ's channel with the 21 convention logo endorsing DDJ.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at this, I'm going, what the fuck is going on here? And I was looking at DDJ, not doing anything to dispel the illusions that he was going to be part of the Red Man group. And that's what everybody was saying. The MGTOW community called it right. You guys, MGTOWs, you got it right. Yes, there was a backroom deal between Anthony and DDJ for him to come on and be a regular part of the Red Man group right there.
Oh my God, it really is George. It really is George
Bruno.
Bruno. He really is watching right now. Go watch the Red Man group, you fucking senile fuck.
No, don't block him. Don't block him. Mods, don't block him.
Oh man!
No, don't block him. Leave him here.
You're a fucking psychopath, bro. Like you need to book a consultation or join body language mastery or something, dude. What the fuck?
What were we just talking about? The adolescent social skill set.
Yeah.
And so
then the voice of reason down here, John, decided to show you how adults deal with it.
Yeah.
So I got no time for this bullshit. Fuck that guy.
I think it's important that. Damn it. I wanted to play fast and loose here, didn't I? I think it's important to
shut up, George. Don't tell me to grow up.
I think it's important to say that the whole thing that went down with Rich was a direct result of this collusion between DDJ and Anthony during that time. We're talking like back in February, and I told Anthony at that point, I said, there is no way that DDJ is ever going to be on Red Man Group so long as I am in the driver's seat here. So as long as I am the CEO. And by the way, for all of this bullshit about how I wanted to do a hostile takeover and how I wanted to make the Red this great, this great channel with 9,000 subs, do a hostile takeover of that. Once Rich was gone, and Anthony had bought out Rich's shares for $6,000. That was the point where he said, I want you to be the CEO. If you don't believe me, I've got the screenshots to prove it. Okay. I've been really kind of reluctant to post screenshots because I respect people's privacy.
Okay. So
maybe now's the time, I don't know.
I just want to speak to that for a minute, cause I got to leave in like 8 minutes.
Yeah. Troy, I see you.
Like without giving it away, because it's really up to Rollo to talk about these concepts. There's a lot of shit behind the scenes that hasn't even been spoken of yet, that hasn't even been clarified, that is really bad shit. Like, it's fucking embarrassing. Like, it would be embarrassing if I had done it to Rollo or his family and he went public with it. And you got to be smarter about the way you run your business, Anthony, because you know what he's got. You do. So smarten the fuck up, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was just wanted to
move along.
I won't be selling those Zelda posters in no time, buddy.
I wanted to make sure that everybody knows that I don't think it's a coincidence that DDJ was on the very first episode of the Red Man Group once I was dropped, and has been a regular participant of that. So
awesome. He and Noah can talk about fuck dolls and bringing back the patriarchy all the goddamn day.
Because the Dollhouse is still a sponsor for DDJ. So technically the Dollhouse is now a sponsor for the Red Man Group and probably the 21 convention. And we don't address those things. I'm going to be really interested to see how it works out with some of these guys who are very much like TradCon ethicists, like the Stefan Molyneux of the world. when they're on the same stage as a guy who says, I want to come on your tits and make you my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Well,
I was thinking more the guy with his melanin deficient girlfriends on there that he may have a problem with. I'm curious how that's going to play out.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that he thought that he could make a bigger impact. I mean, look at it this way. Stefan Molyneux has a bigger audience than anybody in this chat right now. Okay. I think maybe he's seeing numbers as, oh, well, this is my key. This is my ticket to making this event like the premier event for politics and all this other crap into the 2020 election cycle. This is not new. Remember, there was the schism in the red pill back in 2015 when Roosh decided that he wanted to split off from it and he wanted to do neo-masculinity. Okay, it's exactly the same thing that's happening right now.
Oh, yeah, red pill minus the gays. I remember that.
What did he say? What did he say? I'm the father of the red pill. You guys are all my seed. That sounds an awful lot like I'm the president of the red pill. I'm the president of the manosphere. All right. So I think people get it. I think people understand that there's something wrong with Anthony. And I think people are leaving that. Now, here's the thing: is why did Rollo not address this sooner? Why have I not said anything? Well, I'm playing things very close to my chest because there's legal issues that are involved in this.
Plus, this whole thing's fucking embarrassing.
As Rich was saying, all of us. As Rich was saying, there are other things going on in the background.
Yeah, it's middle school nonsense.
Yeah, and it's middle school nonsense on top of everything else. And I don't have to address it because every time he, puts out some all caps, tweet about treason and Batman and Joker and assassinate and and I'm the president, I'm the the savior of the man. It's like, where the fuck is this coming from? Like, where is that? And who, like, when I'm collecting all of these because my lawyers want me to collect all the tweets, where he loses his shit. Mm-hmm. I'm doing this and I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm just like, who is fucking thinking? What guy thinks like this?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really matter. It's you know, like this is going to be the last that we speak of it, guys. Yeah, so after this show is over, don't bother, don't DM, don't fucking add us. Just let it go. Let it do whatever it does. We're on our own purpose. We're doing our own thing. We run our own businesses, our own channels individually. We have our own communities. We focus on what it is that we do. We get together. We're going to continue to collaborate and do stuff with Rule Zero. Follow us on social because it's going to end up wherever it ends up, and we'll definitely announce where we're presenting. But I got to run in a couple minutes, guys. It's been a blast.
I'm going to bring Troy in.
Yeah, bring in Troy. Tune in on Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Before the Train Wreck. I'm running it solo this Monday, doing a lot of Q&A. We'll see you guys.
I can help you if you want.
No, I'm going to run it solo, but thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Peace, Rich. Much love.
See you guys.
Yeah, later, Rich. Man, that guy's fun. Hey, that was Bruno in the chat. That's awesome.
Guys,
I'm glad he's watching.
Hey, guys in the chat, if you think George Bruno is a big dork, give me a 1 in the chat. If you think George Bruno is a big dork, I just want to get
you know what? Credit where credit's due. His beard trimming videos, his pipe stuff, I enjoyed that. Somebody was saying he had a Pipes Around the World show, was pretty good. I think the stay in your lane argument is best here. Stick to what he's good at because it was really good stuff.
You see how fast the chat is moving?
All right, if that is in fact George Bruno, I don't want anybody.
It really is.
I don't want anybody editing it. I don't want anybody, kicking him out or anything because a lot of other people do that. I mean, the moment like Anthony does a video like this, the first thing they do is they moderate the chat and they kick out anything that's a dissenting voice. That's not going to happen on here. If you guys, if you think,
what else is funny, by the way, he isn't even watching Redman Group right now. Like, isn't that where your employees and your lapdogs should be putting their eyeballs? Not watching us.
Well, I don't want.
Is it confirmed?
Huh?
Is it confirmed that it's George?
It is. If you right-click on the name and go to channel, it's 100% George Bruno, and the ones in the chat are solidifying that he is a dork.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If he has a question, if he wants to bring up any topic, I'm more than willing to answer whatever.
We've asked that for 2 years. He just wants to rant in his
I know. And anybody else who wants to ask questions about anything that has to do with this, I'm all ears. If you want to, I'm watching the chat right now. But anyways, I just wanted to, Troy, thanks for coming in. I know you've been sort of active in, I don't want to say tearing down all of this bullshit, but you've been out there really kind of, I think you probably saw through the bullshit a whole lot, probably earlier than I did, with respect to Anthony. And I think that maybe maybe a lot of guys saw this where I was too close. Like you guys know this is like my fault is like I want to believe in the best in people. Like when a guy tells me to go fuck off because he's not ready to be unplugged, when he's not ready to hear red pill truths, I'm like, I don't take any offense to that anymore. I'm just like, you know what? Come back to me when you're ready to come back to me, and I'm all right with that. And I think that as a result, I tend to be a little bit too trusting when it comes to those things. And we're dealing with a lot of guys who have a lot of problems. And I think what's interesting is also that, Anthony credits me for helping him get over his bullshit with Medusa and his ex-wife and all that. But yet it's almost like I'm talking, almost like I'm hearing somebody like I don't even know. It was like on June 1st, he decided to become somebody different. And a lot of people have asked me this. I'm not suggesting this is the truth, but a lot of people have asked me if he's on drugs, if there is something that maybe has sort of scrambled his brain. I've known dudes who are on meth. And I'm not saying he is, but I've known guys who are on meth who become literally a different personality while they're on meth. And when they came off of it, they kind of went back to their old personality. And part of me like thinks I was stupid for ever trusting this guy. And yeah, I was. But part of me also wonders if like maybe he just made some really stupid bad decisions.
Yeah, maybe.
or both. Right? Yeah, I think that a lot of the guys.
I think as you'd said before, I mean, in principle, it seems to me that there's nothing wrong with the concept of the 21 convention. And actually, I mean, people have, when I've tweeted, and I mean, I'm very peripheral to all of this, really. I mean, my main issues are more with some of the new speakers that he's taken on board now. But when I've tweeted, I think people go, these guys just want to tear down the 21 convention, and that's not really the case. I mean, I think that, as Rollo said, I mean, I think there's always been a space for a convention of this kind where guys can get together and they can swap notes. I think that the difficulties have come about, as you say, as a result of the personalities involved and the fact that it has become a me thing. And I mean, the video that AJ did yesterday, the presidential video, is the ultimate expression of brand of me, isn't it? Really, it's the ultimate expression. And I'm the ruler and I control this thing. And I mean, that is to me completely the opposite of what it should be about.
Am I the only one who hasn't watched it? Like,
probably.
F's in the chat if somebody hasn't watched it yet.
Yeah.
There's gonna be not a single F.
And again, if people want like more details about this, John's channel has the meat of that. I talked to you for about an hour yesterday, didn't I?
2 hours, man.
Yeah, we went on for a little while. So there's a lot of things that went on with this. They want to give me shit for the Nelly Bowles thing. They want to give me shit for pretending that I had some sort of hostile takeover of what.
Yeah, and I can release screens of George Bruno talking with Nelly for 20 minutes at the cigar bar. But who cares?
I love this one. You chose the name Rollo Tomassi because your psyche wants to project itself out there because you're a traitor and a treasonous fuckwit and you're Benedict Arnold and I'm the president kind of thing. And it's like, you have to understand, I chose that name. And people want to know where I got the name Rollo Tomassi from. Yes, it is from LA Confidential, which Anthony clearly hasn't seen because the character he's saying who is Rollo Tomassi is not Rollo Tomassi in that. But probably DDJ was, cutting corners there. However, I chose the name because back in 2002, I was still working for
2 F's.
Yeah, I was still working for a liquor company at that time, and I didn't want there to be any connection between myself and like my writing or whatever in the red pill, because that was, well, it still is. I mean, it's very dangerous. Anybody who has like a moniker, like anybody, like Ryan Stone's not your real name. I know that. Right?
Stone isn't.
So it's something else. But we choose these, DDJ, for instance, or Rollo Tomassi, where we choose these things because it is dangerous for us to be. I think we're kind of fooling ourselves that we're actually anonymous online because we're not, but we choose these names as
it's risk mitigation.
Yeah, risk mitigation. Yeah, and so I did that. I chose that name back in I think 2001 or 2002 when I was a moderator at SoSwap, And I did that because I was getting away with my crime of actually, you know, speaking the truth at that point. And that's the only reason I chose that name, and it sort of stuck. And that's, you know, I've published 3 books under that pen name, and I will continue to do so. Even if people do want to know what my real name is, or they find out later on, I'm still going to be Stephen King. You know, I'm still going to be, you know, Danielle Steele. Yeah, people, guys who have names that you are familiar with that are writers, those aren't their real names, man. People
or actors. Most
at
actors
the
aren't
day,
using their real names.
Listen, at the end of the day, who gives a fuck if your name is Simon Garfunkel, dude?
Right.
You have changed people's lives with your fucking book.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Well, and I think that's really interesting because that is a key element of that video. He's like, well, we're trying to defame Rollo. How can we do that? Well, he chose his name because he understands deep down inside that he's a traitor.
Yeah.
Well, why did you choose Troy Francis?
Troy.
I think he's having a little internet connection problem. But I mean, I'll just like.
Why did you pick Troy Francis? Or is that you?
He has
connectivity issues.
The line's a little bit bad. But are you Troy Francis? Is that a genuine?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I just wanted to include you in the conversation because we were all yapping and you're just sitting there quietly.
Troy's got to get his internet sorted. But like, you know, ultimately at this point, look, I have, as you know, like I have the Bachelor's of Science in Psychology, and a textbook characteristic of people according to the DSM, okay, which is the diagnostic handbook that the American Psychological Association uses. Okay, a textbook behavior of narcissists is to run smear campaigns on people who do not support them. And unfortunately, I got to say, like, to be honest with you guys, this is 100% sincere. Like, Anthony has reached the point that I now feel pity for him. Like, I had to run yesterday's video to defend myself because he actually had a photo of me and implicated me for some stuff, and I had to defend myself as a man, as a leader, as a business owner. But he has gotten to the point that I am sincerely troubled with his behavior, and I don't know what's going to happen next, but I don't necessarily see this thing getting any better for him. He is a sincerely and truly psychologically disturbed individual who needs clinical and psychiatric help, in my opinion.
I'm trying to get Troy. I'm trying to get you in here. Log out and come back in again. Right. Yeah, I always kind of felt that about him, but like, again, I think I wanted to really make a Red Pill Summit. I really thought that, you know, when guys come up to me, I'd tell you the thing that really kind of bugs me about this whole thing. And I said this as well in my State of the Manosphere address, is one of the things that bugs me is that there is so much good stuff that came out of that connection. There was so much like talking to people, shaking people's hands. Like I had guys who were flying out from like different parts of the country just to meet me and shake my hand and say, hey, thanks, you saved my life, dude. I had a date that I was going to kill myself and I canceled that because of you. And my kids have a father now because of you. I had and last year I had a couple come up to me and say, thank you for giving us our son back. You don't get that online. Okay. You don't get that from like people just, you know, coming up to you. You don't have people that, you know, meet you and look you straight in the eyes and say, thank you for saving my life. And people want, like when we were at last year's convention, we were at the dinner and I had guys who I would just sit down and people would I was eating and people would come and they were taking turns to sit down to talk to me about what was going on with their lives or what their marriages was like. I had
it's too bad you were too busy in 2017 because we were doing that all, but then as soon as you started sitting down in 18, people were just, like you said, lining up. It was awesome.
Yeah, and I thought that, you know, most of the time when I'm talking at these events, it's not me being up on stage talking about it. It's me, like, interacting with people. It's me having, like, these little close group chats with guys when they ask me about a specific part, right? And so when I'm thinking about that and thinking about not going out and doing this right now, my plans are is to finish book 4. That's all. I went back to work as soon as all this bullshit went down. I went back to work. That's all I wanted to do, was go back and say, you know what? I think that me going out and being a public speaker was really kind of an experiment for myself. I'm not saying that I'm bad at it. I thought I did pretty good at the last one, but I think that I need to focus on being an author first and being a public speaker, a public figure second. And that's really that's where I do the most good, is in my books. So I wanted to get back to that as soon, but then I keep getting dragged back into this shit. Well, Rollo's the fraud father. Rollo's a fraud. And it's this constant bullshit. And I keep getting dragged back into it. I'm trying to ignore it. I do ignore it. I've been working on book 4 for almost the entirety of this year, because the research is finally done. It's out for edit, by the way. But I'm forced to contend with this bullshit, and I'm just simply not going to do it anymore. That's why this is going to be the last time I talk about any of this bullshit. So if you have questions, feel free to give me questions. But I want to get back to what John was saying. Yeah, I think there is something seriously psychologically wrong with Anthony. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I don't pretend to be a psychologist. I've done peer counseling. I know George Bruno in the chats here saying, "Oh, you're a psychologist. How long have you practiced?" No, I've never claimed to be a psychologist. I have a background.
George, shut the fuck up before I ban you.
Don't ban him. I have a background in behavioral psychology, and I have a very strong interest, of course, in personality studies. By the way, that was my area of focus, and then also, everybody knows evolutionary psychology. I have a very broad education on that kind of stuff, and I feel like I can at least talk to that kind of shit. Do I have a certification in counseling? No, I don't. And I've never claimed to have had that.
Military never gave me one. I still had to deal with guys on coke addictions or crying, all kinds of crap. So sometimes it's just experience.
Well, and that's another thing I wanted to point out here is look at the barrier to entry for all of this. You can be a relationship expert with nothing. You just go out and say that's what you are. The internet has opened things up so people can go and be like life coaches. They can be red pill. And I tell you, the thing is the whole thing about Anthony and the whole thing about this schism, and it doesn't bother me as much as when guys go get in their Honda Civic and start reading passages from the Rational Mail saying that that's their own original work. That's the kind of shit that bugs me. Not this stuff anymore. But anyways, if anybody has any questions, feel free to just throw those out there.
All right. Is Troy back? Is he
Troy's
good?
Back now.
I can never tell if he sits still or his internet's out.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. Oh, Troy, is that your real name?
Yeah, sorry about that, man. No, it's not. So Troy Francis is actually a stage name, like a pen name, and the reason I chose it was because it's from a Thomas Hardy novel, and in the novel there is a character called Sergeant Francis Troy, great seducer, and he's this incredibly sort of quasi sort of alpha to charm women effortlessly. So at the time, kind of a fitting name because I was obviously going into the PUA space, going into the dating space and everything. So yeah, no, it's a fictitious name, and I've just kept it. So I quite like it. But that's the thing. I mean, everybody in the early days of this had assumed names. It was that's just the way it is. And I think, they read far too much into Rollo Tomassi. I mean, to a ridiculous degree. I mean, everyone. What about Tyler Durden?
Style.
Style. Yeah.
Well, even go back to the 80s. We were all raised watching Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior. Like, come on.
Here comes the wrestling references.
Oh, I'm not gonna go that bad. I'm sober.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. The name they put out, the public-facing name, I don't believe matters. I think what's important is the content that you put out. I mean, that's what we're talking about here, isn't it? It's got to come down to.
Well, everybody still wants a bit of privacy. Like, you got to have some. Keep a part of you for yourself, because as soon as you're 100% for an audience, that's when the pandering and the craziness starts. You start to drink your own Kool-Aid, and we clearly see how that can go wrong.
Yeah.
If your actual name is Anthony Dream Johnson, you sign emails or you hit on girls with Tinder with your nickname and stuff. I'm like, you got to keep that separation. Otherwise, this just eats you up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Although I have had difficulty with that in the past. I've been in situations where I've hit on girls in real life, and then I've given them my Troy Francis Instagram, or I've given them my Troy Francis Twitter or something like that. Getting into a lot of trouble. I should have given them my personal one. I didn't. So you've got to be a bit careful sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's OPSEC training. Ivan's got a course out for that. $99. How to have OPSEC like a samurai. Barnes and Nobles on sale today.
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe we should talk about what this about the future here, because all of this stuff. Like, one of the reasons I was able to be so accurate in my predictions in the state of the manosphere address is because all this shit's happened before. Like back in the day when did we lose Troy? Back in the day, in 2015, when Roosh decided that he wanted to split from the manosphere and start his own thing, what did he start? He started neo-masculinity, and he wanted it to de-emphasize evolutionary psychology, and he wanted to up the spiritual aspect of things. He wanted really to go tradcon. You weren't, of course, allowed to be homosexual and be in neo-masculinity because that was degenerate. And when I was listening to all this, I'm like, you're basically cutting off a good portion of the guys who contribute a lot to the manosphere. Here's another thing. Anthony was giving me shit about how I was trying to get. I wanted to have Hotep Jesus come on board for this next event, and I wanted to get Larry Chang on, and I'm going to have Larry Chang on my. I think that's how you say his name, on my. My channel at some point too, because I really like the guy and I want to do some work with the guy. But of course, Anthony wants to go and twist that and say that I was doing that because I'm like just a racist opportunist or something like that. I'm like, no, I want to have a broad spectrum of guys with different takes to come in and speak. That's why.
That's like, remember when Athena thought that I was here so that you could say I'm not a racist because I have a black friend. It's like, dude, I'm a little light for that, but thank you for asking.
Yeah, and so it's like, that was the time when I was dealing with all these guys from the black pill and these Asian guys saying that Asian men can't get laid, and Asian men have a tough, an uphill battle, I think, and so do Indian men as well. But I wanted to say, hey, look, we don't have
in America they do.
Yeah, exactly. But we don't have anybody. We didn't have anybody on board that could speak to that, and I really wanted to make sure that these guys felt like they were being heard and like they had somebody that was talking to them. That wasn't me being like, let's get a Chinese man and let's get a black dude and it wasn't anything like that.
I just want to address something in the chat real quick. So a lot of people are asking, like, hey, let's get George Bruno on the stream. We would totally invite George, but he's blocked every single one of us on every avenue of social media. So how the fuck can we send him a link?
No, I'll opt out of that one. I'm sorry. I've worked with somebody. Once my trust is gone, it's gone. So you can take my spot if he wants it.
He doesn't even know how to use a computer, so it's okay.
I don't have a call-in set up here anyways. So I mean, you're welcome to chime in and tell me whatever you want in the chat, man. And nobody's.
Yeah, I'm watching, Georgie. I got my eye on the chat, so just let us know what you got to say.
No one's gonna block you. So, yeah, I mean, if that's the case, feel free to ask questions, make your points, whatever. But like when that was going, another thing I want to also address here, because I thought this was, people say, well, one of the chicks was saying to the effect that. Well, Anthony wishes you were dead, right? He says, well, I hope when you die of natural causes, you go to hell. And I'm like,
burn for eternity.
Hey, wishing one hand, shit in the other.
Who the fuck is like, who comes up with this shit, right? And so I'm thinking this, and I'm going, well, yeah, exactly. The reason why he said of natural causes is because if he didn't, that's a threat of violence and a death threat. So that, to me, that's a veiled threat. Right there.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's first off. That's I wanted to make sure that I put that out there. But the thing, like people say, well, he went really, really low. I like, no, he's gone lower than that because he's has been suggesting that my relationship with Sam Bada is just out of economics or out of me wanting like good press or some shit like that. First of all, you need to understand my relationship with Sam Bada happened way before I even had a book. So I've known Sam since the early days of my blog being out. I had Sam read my read my books, as he's the narrator of the voice of my audiobooks. And I waited a year for each one of these books just so he could do those things. Because I liked his voice. He was a good friend. And I also know that he had medical issues. He was involved in a hit and run accident. I didn't have to split the revenue. I split royalty revenues with Sam, because Sam has some really high medical bills. He's got a service dog, Oliver, that I was at least in some way responsible for helping him get. He needs this stuff. Anytime you see pictures of Sam Bada in the hospital, he's actually here in Nevada now, and I've been visiting him as well. I mean, it's the real deal, man. Nobody's bullshitting, nobody's faking. But like, when I hear Anthony saying, "Oh, he's just doing that because he likes the good press," he could have, like, I'm splitting a lot of money with him every month, and I've been doing that for at least going on 6 years now. In October 1st, it'll be 6 years for the Rational Male. And so to say that I'm doing that out of some sort of desire to hey, look, here's my cripple, that kind of shit, that's the lower end of things. And I'll let you know right now, I could very easily have said, hey, you know what, just do I could have had him do the read and paid him $2,000 and been done with it. But I chose for all 3 books to have him do the reads and to split the royalties for all 3 of those reads. And because he needs it, and even my wife was saying, well, we're going to split the royalties with him. Like, you're goddamn right, we're going to split the royalties with him now, because he needs that. He needs this shit. And I don't know how much longer Sam Bada has in this world, to be honest with you, but he's a great guy, and he's always been, my biggest supporter, and I love Sam, so I will continue to do that. So just, if you're going to go and you're going to fucking make accusations of me about shit like that, fuck you. The best thing I can say is fuck you. That's you have no idea what you're talking about. And that's the thing, is a lot of these accusations and a lot of the stuff that Anthony is throwing out there right now is just, he's grabbing for straws. He's struggling right now. And I think right now the reason that we're seeing all of this stuff going on is,
hey, we're talking about him, so it isn't completely useless.
Let me address that one real quick. George from Bruno says, move the heck on, dudes. Well, I'm not the one who has put out a video yesterday claiming that I'm the fucking president of the manosphere. So
a 23-minute video.
Yeah, exactly. You want to move on? I did move on. I moved the fuck on from day one. The guy that you claim to be, the guy that you follow, the guy that you're been speaking of, the guy that you claim you what was it, Ryan, remember in the chat when he was saying something like, I do what I take orders, I do what I'm told, or something.
Yeah, I got all those screenshots. I didn't want to release them because they're this whole thing. Look, Rollo, I love you, man. This is awesome, but this entire thing is embarrassing for me a bit. Yeah, so
it is, and for me as well. But I felt like it needed to be done, and I think that one of the reasons why people will keep asking me, like, well, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you come out against this? Why didn't you? Because it's like I said, it's an order of magnitude greater to debunk bullshit than it is to create bullshit. And I have other more important, better things to do, quite honestly. But now he's starting to see the consequences of his decisions. And if he's lost money, if the attendance is down, then you got no one to look in the mirror, man. That's the guy to blame, not me, not Rich, not Ryan, not anybody on this panel. You made decisions. You listened to people who convinced you to make those decisions as well.
You can blame me if it makes them feel better, as long as it brings me views.
Good luck to you. I hope you can make this political, tribalistic, ethno-national, whatever it is that you're calling it, Trump 2020 campaign work for you. I really hope so, but don't call it the manosphere, because it's not the manosphere. It's not. It doesn't have anything to do with this shit. It doesn't have anything to do with Red Pill.
And I just was saying, just to double down on the narcissism aspect of it, it's funny, Rollo, we're pretty much on the same page, because I don't think you heard me say this, but you literally said the exact same thing that I said before you came on the show yesterday. I said that the manosphere belongs to no one. It is a collective space for all men of all races, of all experiences, in order to lift all men up. There is no one unifying leader. There is no president. There is no, the first lady is probably George Bruno, but other than that, there is no leader to this thing. And the fact that he would have the audacity to, reach out and say to the world, I am the president of the manosphere, is again a testament to the narcissism that he is clearly displaying succinctly to the world. And in addition to that, it is very, very evident with this kind of erratic behavior that there is something clearly psychologically wrong with this individual. And it's gotten to the point for me personally that it's no longer funny, but it's gotten to the point that it's concerning. And I'm really worried about the people who will attend 21 convention, to be honest with you.
Remember this, John, like when I was in that conversation with myself and Rich and Anthony, and it was the time that Rich was really blowing up at Anthony for all this backroom bullshit that he was doing. That's when you see that side come out, when somebody tells him no. And I've seen this in guys that I've worked for in the past. These are the guys who have that narcissistic personality disorder, but they also have this idea that it's like Steve Jobs effect. He has this reality distortion bubble that's going on around the guy. And it only comes out, you only really see it when you tell him no, when things don't go his way. And that's when he starts to lose his shit. And that's what this video is. It's him losing his shit because things aren't going his way right now. And I think now he's finally realizing the consequences to his actions, the impact that these decisions have had on his business. And you're right. Yeah, that comes out. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not going to fucking diagnose the guy. But to me, I think, human beings, when you see somebody walking down the street and they're like mumbling to themselves, or when somebody's like, you see a homeless person on the street, there's a part of our human nature that it instinctually knows that those behaviors or those are cues that say, stay away from that person. That person's got something wrong with them. You don't see that in Anthony until you tell him no, until there's some sort of, thing that he thought was going to work one way and it doesn't work for him. The whole thing with Mike Cernovich, I guess we lost Troy. The whole thing with Mike Cernovich, and Stefan Molyneux being at the Patriarchs convention.
Rollo, we should send the link to Bruno. Bruno wants to come on stream and talk. I think we should let him talk.
He's not gonna come on. No, I mean, this is our fuck, because all he's gonna do is, here's what's gonna happen. He's gonna try to steer the conversation back to, what happened with Nelly Bowles? What happened with this? What happened with that? And the fact of the matter is you want to know the truth about Nelly Bowles is I talked to Nelly Bowles in July of 2018. She wanted to get some quotes from me about sperm counts. She had me thinking she was a tech writer. That's how she sold herself to me. I'm a tech writer. I'm writing this piece on declining sperm counts. And I knew she was from the New York Times, and I was kind of wary about talking to her, but I did anyway. I told her, I said, this is what I see going on. All I was doing was just sort of, she could have got anything that I said, she could have got from just trolling, the Twitter feeds of myself or Roosh or anybody else for that matter. I think she just wanted to get a quote from Rollo Tomassi. So I gave her a quick quote. And of course, if you want to see my response to her editorial, I'll be happy to show you the screenshots of that. I was very critical of her at that time. Once that story came out, I'm like, this is bullshit. And she's like, well, my editor changed it, or the graphic designers made it look like, that the guys are a bunch of whiny babies because their sperm count.
She might be right too, right? It's yellow.
She journalism. Might, yeah. But
you guys are delusional to trust her.
I'm just saying, even if she was 100% right, I was more than one person.
I was unfamiliar with who she was. I had no idea who she was. And then about 2 weeks after that story had come out, she said she wanted to do something on testosterone replacement therapy. And then she said she was interested in coming to the convention in October. And I ran that by Anthony because we were already talking to guys from NPR and some other, press. Anthony loves the press. I mean, the first thing he was saying about Poland was that the BBC was going to be there and do a documentary on them, which I still haven't seen the show for that, but maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But Anthony, and rightfully so, he wants the press. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I suggested, hey, maybe she wants to come out. Can she come out? He said, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's get her to come out here. Now, people will say, well, what about these screenshots? What about this? What about that? Well, the thing is, the fact of the matter is, it boils down to this:
here, I'll send a screen. Check your Twitter, guys.
She was invited by myself. She was invited by Anthony. Everybody was cool with that until Anthony ran it. We weren't even thinking about it. She was just sort of like an afterthought at this point, and we ran it by the guys in the speakers in our. We had a group chat for all the speakers for the. Now they probably still have it now. All the speakers for the convention. And that's when, like, AJ Cortez said, hey, did you see this story that she did about Jordan Peterson? And I didn't read, because she had me sold on the fact that she was the tech writer, not like some sort of lifestyle writer or anything like that. She had done some attack piece or hit piece on Jordan Peterson. I didn't know that. I instantly said, maybe this is not a good idea. There a lot of stuff, like when we were texting stuff, that's not the whole fucking conversation. Because we were talking on the phone about this. We were seeing each other in real time at the convention saying, what are we going to do with her? And that night, with the infamous video where she comes up to us at the cigar bar, that's what we were talking about. What are we going to do with this reporter from the New York Times? That's what everybody was there for. If you want to get a little bit more information about that, go read Goldman's. He did a blog post about exactly what had happened. You can see George Bruno and Jack Murphy just yucking it up with her at that in the engagement. And they want to say, well, that put everybody at risk. Well, these guys were jumping at the chance to talk to this chick. In fact, here's the thing is they wanted to, we'd gone from saying, is she going to be able to be there and sort of write notes? Or are we going to make sure she stays out of there because we don't want her talking to the people who are attendees? I was more concerned with that. I wanted to make sure that the attendees had their privacy taken care of. So we were going to say, well, let's let her in for the Red Man group after the convention is over. So we went to that. Then it was the guys didn't want to have her in the Red Man group shooting, and so we were going to put her. And this was the suggestion. We were going to put her in a room by herself with no cameras, or with us taking video, only our cameras. She could sit there with a pen and a pad of paper and take notes and do interviews with whoever wanted to be whoever wanted to go and talk to her. And so we'd gone from like having her be invited to this thing on her dime to fly out here and talk to these guys, to we're going to put you in a room where the camera's going to be on you, and anybody who wants to talk to you after the convention is over and after the Red Man group shooting was over, then you can talk. And she's like, and rightfully so, she's like, this is bullshit. And she said, am I going to be safe? She was actually concerned for her own safety, because you're not going to see this conversation in our chats. You're not going to see this in all of the private confidential shit that they want to throw out there and cherry pick little bits and pieces of. You're not going to get that, because those conversations happen in real time. And so if you're going to believe that, here's the thing. Even if all that's true, even if I said, hey man, come on down to the cigar bar, let's go, let's talk to these guys, whatever, even if that's true, why the fuck would I do that? Why? And this is the question nobody wants to fucking answer. They don't want to answer. Why on earth would Rollo Tomassi, who's been writing in the Sphere for 18 years now, why would he do that? They don't. It's because the reason is they want you to focus on that bullshit, because he needed a reason to drop me from the fucking ticket. He needed a reason to let me go. And they had been sitting on this bullshit that he was thinking about for 8 months at that point. Because remember, he dropped me in June and all this stuff happened in October. Right. So all this shit's going on. And why would he start a business with me? Why would he fucking make me the CEO of the Red Man Group once
I'm just wondering if it's worth sending those screenshots where he says, he actually didn't fire you. By his words, he exiled you.
Exiled me. That is true. That is
yeah,
true.
for disobeying,
I get it.
I just want to clear your here, because that's
direct order. You disobeyed a direct order from the president
of the Manosphere. Yeah. So I want to make sure people know this, because it's like the whole thing, especially with DDJ making these defamatory videos. He wasn't there. DDJ was not there sitting at the fucking table. Okay. DDJ was not in the conversations we had. DDJ was nowhere to be found, but God knows he certainly is mouthing everything that Anthony has put into his mouth. And so to me, that says there's something a whole lot more involved is going on in the background between himself and DDJ. So I just want to throw that out there. The other thing is like, why would I do this? I've got 3 books out. Why would I do that? Why he wants to say, well, I have some sort of prior, collusion with a New York Times reporter. And it's like, first of all, she came there by herself. There was no other photographer with her. She didn't have anybody else. She was there on her own, by herself, on her own dime. So why would I do that? Why would I care even enough to do something like that? Why did I choose the name Rollo Tomassi? Oh yeah, because I knew back in 2002 when I chose that name that in 2019 there'd be this guy named Anthony Johnson who at that time was 14 years old and I was going to go and just like destroy his world because I chose my name as being the traitor treasonous Rollo Tomassi.
Whatever happened to those numerology dudes? Remember when they were all up in our ass and then it just went away?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was at Cash Twitter. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, all those degenerate gamblers there who were like, yeah, we're the real men's group. I don't know. Troy, I'll put you in, Troy. I'm not going to lie. Anybody in this chat and anybody even outside, even Bruno admitted it in that chat. I was just taking a quick glance to get caught up on what happened a year ago. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows the value. Everybody knows the content. Everybody knows the ethos. And this is the part that bothered me. Like, I'm doing it, so whatever. But just by us acknowledging this, it's just encouraging more fucking spurg outs. Because every time he spurgs, then we got to come out with a 2-hour video saying Rollo's not a spurg. Meanwhile, it's painfully obvious you're not a spurg.
Well, that's why I wanted to do this one. Okay.
Yeah.
And John wanted to do this as well. So,
like, but it's kind of sad. This is the part that makes me sad. Are we really treating this as our competition? We got 3 fat dudes at a dinner singing opera music out of key.
This is going to sound really full of myself, but I don't have any competition. I don't think of it in terms of competition right now. The only competition I have is guys sitting in their Honda Civics in the dark reading my book. That's my.
I love how that's a meme that's caught on. By the way,
I am my own competition. Yeah, but yeah, and once this video is done, I'm done with this. Okay.
Yeah, and like for everybody that's saying like, oh my god, this is sad, this is drama. Look, I understand.
But you're all here.
Yep, you're right.
You're all here.
Right. It is sad.
Listen, guys. At the end of the day, listen, guys. It's not drama. This is what maybe you think it's drama because your mindset is more in tune with the feminine. Okay, but the reality is that all of the men of Rule Zero, we all offer consultation services. We all offer help to men who are suffering. And when somebody else makes a 23-minute long video disparaging us and slandering us, defaming us with lies, it is our responsibility as men with honor and integrity to debunk that. And that is why I did it yesterday. That is why we're doing it today. And that is why you will never hear us talking about this again.
I'll tell you what. I'll make you a deal, George Bruno. If you want to go and you want to talk on John's channel, I'll join you on John's channel. I'll call in, but I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that here. I want to make sure.
Throw him a bone too. Get rid of that Bruno doing bicep curls super chat recognition that you do too. There you can show be friendly.
Yeah, exactly. Now that's never going anywhere.
So
with integrity.
If there's any more questions in the you don't even have to make it a super chat. Just if there's any questions about any of this stuff, I'll be happy to answer anything.
I got a question for the audience too. For any of you guys, from all of this talk ever since the exile of the 21 convention, have any of you gotten laid from any of this? Have any of your wives done the dishes for you? Have any of you gotten a morning blowjob? Show me how any of this has made your life better. I'm actually kind of curious because everybody's look. It is what it is. We're in here. We're doing. Yeah, it's not drama. We're with integrity, defending our reputation. Blah blah blah. This is clickbaity nonsense, and everybody's watching, and we're all pretending we're all above it. Well, we're here. Just fuck it. Mm-hmm. End of the day, you can still come to my channel and watch. Like John says, we still do things. So yeah, we're gonna spend some time doing a little bit of red meat drama for the audience. Yeah. Think of this more as like a critique on the manosphere in general. The fact that this is as popular as it is.
Yeah. Well,
the fact that even Anthony's crew was watching the goddamn video.
I know.
Why aren't you watching your own channel? Noah's struggling. He's struggling, man. He's got 12 viewers. Get in there.
Another thing that I talked about this with Jon yesterday is when I was dropped, I immediately put out a blog post, and I put out a blog post saying that I'm not going to be at Poland. I'm not going to be a part of this whole thing anymore. I did that because I had to do that. That was and I didn't realize it at the time, but I was doing the right thing. My legal team finally afterwards said, that's the best thing you could have done. Because if I had not said that I was going to be there, then that accounts for fraudulent and deceptive business practices. Like you can't sell something and say somebody's going to be there and that person is not going to be there. What was the first thing people asked, right? Ryan, you guys, both of you guys were in the same thing. What was the first thing people said? Well, Rollo's not going to be there. Ryan, are you going to be there? No, I'm not going to be there. Jon, you're not going to be there. No, I'm not going to be there. What's the first thing people said? How do I get a refund? I don't want to go if you guys aren't going to be there. You guys were the only reason I wanted to go. They asked us. We didn't say, go get your refund now, quick. We didn't say, nobody said anything.
Dude, the language was very specific. If you feel defrauded.
Yeah, exactly.
If you think a tort has been committed, here are your legal remedies.
And if you go back,
go to Anthony, here's his email, go to the payment provider. Right. There's nothing.
And Anthony later on, like the next day said, can you put an addendum on your post saying, go to this link, blah, 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 because I don't want people to think that they're not getting their tickets worth or some shit like that. So he wanted me to change the post, and I did. I went down. If you go and you look at the edit on that post, I changed it saying, look, I don't know because I didn't know what the refund policy was, and I put a link to his refund policy. I did exactly what he asked me to do. So that if you look at that post, that's why that addendum is on there. Even after that, he's still saying, oh, you guys tried to tell everybody to go get a refund and do chargeback. I didn't say jack shit. People in the chat room were, people in the throw, if you're gonna get on me for like not discouraging these guys, it's like they don't want to go. They don't want to go to your event if I'm not there, if Ryan's not there, if Rich isn't there, if Jon isn't there. Maybe you've got another market that you want to appeal to, but it's not the ones that you were appealing to prior to us being on there. So no, I did not say go get your refund. But what's the natural inclination? Oh, how can I get a refund? And that's what they did. So that's why I put that out there. My legal team said that was the best thing that I could have done, because what does Anthony want us to do? To pretend that we're actually on there? He was still using my picture right up until the end of July to sell the convention.
Hey, we're still on the photo of the Red Man Group banner.
Technically, he's still using. Troy's back. He's still using our distinct likenesses in their advertising. Technically, that is fraudulent and deceptive business practice. And you can make a case for it. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to do that. But I think right now he's realizing that it's impacted his business, and that these are the consequences he's having to play. And what is he going to do? He's going to need a scapegoat. He's going to say, well, Rollo's the one who ruined me. Ryan's the one that ruined me. These guys, they left or because of what they did, they're trying to take down the 21 convention. I don't care. I don't really. Once all this shit went down, I'm like, I'm done. I went back to work. I didn't want to talk about it, because the more you talk about it, the more you look like an idiot, as he found out, because that's all he did. Like you were saying before, I know how Medusa feels now, because he couldn't stop. I'm Medusa now. We're all Medusa now.
You made us empathize with the hooker. Thanks, Johnson.
Yeah, and we're all we're all the cheap hookers now. So but it's like and that again, you want to talk about a guy who can't just let things go, or can't just okay, if you're the king of the fucking manosphere, go do it, man. Go show me you're the king of the manosphere. Don't tell me you are. Go and show me the numbers, man. Show me the money. Show me everything that you're doing that people want to do. I'm not saying my shit don't stink, okay? I'm not saying I'm Jesus Christ, all right? You want to make me out to be some sort of Messiah thing. I write books, and I talk to people, and I help people out. And I've always been that way. Again, like, my fault is being the reason we're even sitting here talking about this is because I'm too trusting. Because I fucking do this. I need to say, fuck it. I'm not talking to anybody. I want to do anything. I don't want to do any I'm not going to do any live appearances until book 4 is done. I've made that promise to myself. So don't ask me to come on your convention or anything until book 4 is out. And when it's out, then I'll be happy to talk to you. But
so that's why you didn't come to Hot Dude Con.
Well, there was a hurricane. There was a hurricane to deal with.
So Troy, are we back? Are you there, or is this
now, Troy? I had a question here real quick.
Yeah,
The guy was asking, what do you think the black pill is? Oh wait, here's this thing. What's this one? Does ADJ have his own people on the Reddit group? Rollo's work used to be gospel on there. Oh, and yeah.
Oh, on the red pill?
Yeah,
I
the red
guarantee.
Pill. You can talk to that. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Here's the thing, and here's the part that really annoyed me working with them. It was a lot of holding my nose up. I introduced him to the Married Red Pill group because he wanted to advertise his stuff. I'm like, here's the community. I kind of explain how things go. I put in a good word for him. He walks in, runs his mouth, throws in ads, gets banned, and then has a temper tantrum. So already guys in the Married Red Pill are annoyed with me for bringing him around. Same thing with the Red Pill. I think the last thing I spoke to him on that one was like, look, for the last 3 months, you've been pretty spurgy. This is the problem. Here's what they need addressed. Just do this, and they're more than happy to let you advertise, ad nauseum. I put in a good word for you. Do not embarrass me. And Red Pill School put in his little post after that showing Anthony's temper tantrum. So that embarrassed the shit out of me. That was right around the same time as the Rich thing. So I'm like, you know what? I don't need to burn all of my other networks because this guy can't play with another human being too well. But yeah, no, if he has somebody in there, it's because the guys want to keep him around as a cautionary example, but he has no sway, no swing. He is definitely not attached to or pleasant with anybody from the mod team in that. I know Gay Lube Oil there for a while was working with them because he's always kind of had a soft spot and wanted to be in on the convention, be part of the big boy group. And that's kind of when I think he went after you there with those memes and calling me Sheckelstein and all that weird shit there, but it's just Spurg stuff. Yeah. Troy, what do you think the black pill is?
Did we lose him? Troy, go. Yeah, what do you think the black pill is?
The black pill, I think black pill is really. And apologies, guys, by the way, because I'm having some technical issues at this side, so sorry for that. Pill is basically the ultimate version of nihilism. We think that they go beyond the red pill in the sense that the red pill takes it so far, but actually the red pill is because what's really true. You have, a perfect jaw structure, unless you have a certain height, unless you have certain looks, then you just have no hope in the sexual marketplace whatsoever. You might as well give up. That's kind of how does that chime with other people?
Yeah, I see it as an embracing of red pill truths, but then the solution is to just say, fuck it, you can't do anything. I think, how we always talk about how there is different degrees of MGTOW. Like there's the guys who are MGTOW who maybe they're married or maybe they're, they've just decided to change their lives and do something different. There's the guys that are MGTOW that are still, open to dealing with women and having sex with them. They just have changed their minds about the whole intersexual dynamics thing. And then there's the opposite end. And I think the black pill is probably the most extreme opposite end of MGTOW right now, which is they see the truth, they understand the red pill awareness, and they just can't deal with it, or they opt out. They cannot hang anymore, and so they want to throw all this stuff out there and commiserate with everyone. Like I did a post on how Asians, and it's called the global sexual marketplace, and the guys in a global sexual marketplace have to compete with guys from all over the world now. And so if a woman won't go out with you because she thinks because social media has inflated her ego so, grandly that they don't want to have anything to do with you, guys like to use that to sort of beat themselves up, I think, and say, you know what, fuck it, I'm done. I'm never dealing with another woman again. Well, fine. Okay. If that's your case, go that's your solution. That's my problem with MGTOW is not that they don't get the analysis right. They do. I think you have to be red pill to be MGTOW. I think it's a little bit different for MRAs. I don't think most MRAs aren't really red pill. I think because they still believe in the egalitarian ideal. I think that MGTOW has a whole lot more in common with the red pill, but I think they get the solutions wrong. I think that I think men and women are better together than they are apart. I think that you can still have a relationship. You can still they just haven't figured it out. They just don't know how to go about doing that. Well, how can I play this game when it's rigged? Well, that you can either don't play or you
Learn
can
to cheat.
You can learn to cheat. Yeah, you can find a way to play to the best of your advantage. What do you want to do? You know, I wanted to also say that the black pill is almost the opposite end of what I'm seeing going on with Anthony's, you know, moving the red pill, like this, the Pat Stedmans of the world, saying, well, we need to move the red pill into this magical realm of, you know, crystals and you know, religion, and we need to account for the spirituality of people and MBTI and Carl Jung and all this other shit.
Here, can I do a quick thing? Because Bruno's running off again. All right. Now he's addressing the bitter, angry, violent guys that find their way to your doorstep. All right, George, it's a problem a lot of people make, and it's kind of important. These guys aren't bitter and angry after they come here. They're bitter and angry, and they're looking for some reason not to be bitter and angry because nobody likes it, even the cathartic ones. So by the time they've gotten here, they've had failures from just about every other avenue of society. Their pastor let them down. Their good buddies. Their YouTube pipe-smoking personality has given them stupid advice. And there's literally nothing left at the point that they have to type in a YouTube search, why won't my wife have sex with me? And then they end up here with a bunch of guys that call them, well, I can't use the word without getting us banned from YouTube, and say, here, go hit the gym and get your shit together. And yeah, if you're angry, vent it off, do what you got to do. And this is literally the last resort of keeping these men somewhat engaged in society. So I don't want to hear this whole giving refuge to angry men. No, they got nowhere else. And the only thing that's left after this is renting a van. So you should be thankful that angry people have a home that's not inside of a shooting gallery.
No, and this is exactly what I said. You want the answer to this, George? Go back and watch the Red Man group that we filmed at the Patriarchs Convention where you were sitting across the table from me. I said exactly this. I said, why, like, the red pill is going to have a PR problem, and you are contributing to that PR problem right now because you presume that we're all about incels, that we're all about, you know, violence, you know, school shooters or some shit like that. If you read any of the stuff that I have done, if you have any familiarity with my book, you understand that that's bullshit, and that, you know, I'm saving lives here. I'm not fucking killing people. I'm not harboring these guys either. Okay. I think what sort of rubs you guys the wrong way is that these guys have questions that you don't have fucking answers for. All right. You want to say, well, you know, go read the Bible, you know, girls smell nice, right? Go. I don't even, here's the thing is when you say, oh, you guys are fermenting angry guys, that's exactly what I said in that Red Man group. Okay. I said, that's what people are going to say. They're going to say that we're making these dudes angry, that we're the ones that are teaching them too much. They get too much information and they can't handle that. And you know what? You're right. There is a group of guys, there is a demographic of usually younger guys, but sometimes older guys who can't handle the truth. And so what's the solution? To give them more blue pill? To tell them, you know what, stick your head back in the sand and everything will be all right? Guys are going to be angry. That's exactly what RSD was saying. Well, Rollo's he's got a really great book and it's all truth, but it's truthful anger. No, it's not truthful anger. That's a stage that guys go through. They go through that anger stage, and some of them get stuck there. Okay. Are there ways to like help these guys get unstuck? Sure there are. Okay. But they're not angry and violent and bitter or whatever because of the red pill. They were already there. Okay. They were there before they even learned about my book or the red pill or anything like that. So what are you
too bad. Mental health would have been good for it too, except for they just turned his masculinity into a disorder.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, and I think that's interesting. This is a conversation that I have with Dr. Sean Smith. Is like, and Dr. Sean will say, well, don't some guys still need the blue pill? You know, because they can't really handle the full truth of the red pill. And I think I think he's right. I think a lot of guys stick their heads back in the sand. They want to in some way reconcile red pill truth and red pill awareness with their blue pill ideals. They want to. That's why we call it the purple pill. It's not a fucking insult. It's not so you're a purple pill. That, you know why you think that? Because you still have an adolescent social skill set. You think that by me saying that I'm like poking fun at you or I'm insulting, or if I call somebody a blue pill, then that's insult. No, it's a designation. It's a designation of guys. It's a behavior set. And when I see that behavior set, that's what I categorize it as. It's not like, in fact, I've written posts saying, don't hate the beta. Don't hate the blue pill guy, because you need those guys to unplug. I'm doing this because I want to help guys like that. I'm doing this because I don't want guys to be angry. I'm doing this because here's the thing is, people believe all this false bullshit about me. He's teaching guys to hate women. No, I'm not. I'm probably the only guy in the red pill. I'm certainly the only guy in the MGTOW communities that said, and I'm not in the MGTOW communities, but I'm the only guy that these guys are listening to that says, you know what? Men and women are better together than they are apart. I've said that dozens of times with Pat Campbell. And it's like, so here's the thing. So either I'm the devil and I'm teaching guys to be bitter and angry and everything, or I'm the guy saying we're better together than we are apart. Now, if you believe the former, why do you believe that? Because people are telling you that. Why do they need to tell you that Rollo is bitter and angry and everything else? Because the truths that I bring out aren't good for their business. That's why. So
give them more business then and fuck off.
Yeah, I know, and I'm giving them more business right now. But so that's the whole thing when it comes to purple pill and it comes to this stuff. It's like these guys saying, "Well, I went and did red pill and I couldn't get laid," and that's where you get guys like Elliot Rodger. Okay, and here's what's going to happen: the next time there's another shooting, that's the first thing that guys like George Bruno are going to do. They're going to go, "Well, it was Rollo. Rollo's the one who told him to go shoot him." Hey, he might as well be saying that. Rollo told him to go shoot. That's where it's going to end up by the next one, I'm pretty sure, because they have to find some way to demonize the truth. Go ahead, Troy.
But it's see that it seems to be purple pill are both just different reactions to the red pill, aren't they? I mean, you've got on the one hand, so if you have the red pill as this is the way things are, as accurately and objectively as we can define purple pill, which says, well, okay, things might be a bit like that, but let's fluff over it and get our crystals out and kind of ignore it. And then the black pill says, no, these guys are right.
That's the meme that keeps on giving.
Let's go realistic and let's be really nihilistic and let's effectively give up. So in fact, it's the red pill really is the rational center, because I mean, to me, what always gets lost is the amount of opportunity that the red pill offers, because the red, I think, in the previous is not, to me, some kind of terrible thing where you find out this information, you think, oh my god, this is the end of my life, I've got to give up and die. The red pill is just like, okay, well, how things are. I get this, I understand this. Or how can I therefore live my life in a way that sort of it works very well for me and for the people around me? And to me, that's a really positive thing. And to me, that's got to be better of sort of putting a band-aid over it, getting your crystals and your pan pipes out, and you're talking about energy, and sort of evading issues.
Yeah. No, I here's the thing is I see guys, saying, well, you're just preaching to the choir here, where the guys here are already pre-sold. I don't think so. I'm on Twitter every day and this is what I'm seeing. I think that when guys tell me, like, RSD pulled the same shit that these guys are pulling right now, which is, this is just truthful anger, right?
What does that even mean? What a weird container word to throw out.
Well, they have to make it sound that way because they want.
No, that's what I mean. Like, what does it say? Like, what does truthful anger even mean? Anger is just a social response to a grievance. It doesn't have to be true. So what is the truthful anger? Like, do you see what I mean? It's that weird manipulative language that it's true. So you assume it means it's a good thing, but it's anger, which is bad.
If you look at the guys who are still left on the speaking tour, all of these guys have a revenue stream that is dependent on their counseling or their on a certain message. Okay, if you look at a guy, and I don't want to like pick on Alexander Cortez here, but like Alexander,
I'll do it,
and Pat Stedman are both in the same market as Matthew Hussey, as Todd Valentine, as Tucker Max, as Mark Manson. They're in the same market. They're selling the same juice. Okay, it's build a better beta and sell that better beta to spinsters who think that you look cute because you're young and your hair is long. Okay,
that's not Stedman.
No, that's not Stedman.
His hairline is long. Gone.
That and this is why
in the middle of his head.
This is why. God damn it! This is why I was saying. So that's the narrative. That's the barrier to entry for all of these guys. And people will say, well, you could say the same thing about Troy. Troy's not selling the same thing, man. They'll say, well, Troy's a pickup artist, or Jon is a pickup artist. I think you guys probably lean more PUA than anything else, but you're honest brokers. You're not outrage brokers. You're out there, selling. You have books. I have books. Everybody here has a brand of me in some way. Okay, what does that brand rely on? And what is that brand all about? And
well, never shit on PUA either. I mean, that's just
no,
a skill
not at
set.
all.
That's
not
like a
all.
plumbing manual. The only difference is, you're laying pipe, not, soldering pipe.
Yeah, not at all. But so you've got a convention of guys who are all out there using it. And this was the problem with his Purple Pill convention prior to us coming on, is that it was guys going up there seeing it as an hour of advertisement for themselves. That's all it was. It wasn't actually trying to make an impact. It wasn't actually trying to, to take the noose off of guys' necks. It was about spreading, an opportunity for the brand of me. And I think maybe that's where, like, when we were talking about the believers versus the empiricists, Ryan, remember that whole thing? It's like now it's leaning more towards this believer kind of thing. It's leaning more towards, like, it's not
moral
it's not
objectivism.
It's not rational anymore.
There's one path of morality all the way up to Jesus, and you can get closer or further away, but that's it. It's
well, like when the whole thing.
Dude, it's secular Catholicism along with the guilt.
Yeah. So anyways, if anybody has any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat as well, or put them in the comments below here. I hope
Bruno, if you throw me on another one of your Tacoma videos, at least shout out the channel, man. I'm starting out.
Yeah. Go ahead, Troy.
It's really fascinating, this sort of irrationality in the purple pill space that you're talking about, though. I find it really interesting. We discussed Jung is their sort of god, isn't he? But then it goes into the crystals, it goes into the tarot, it goes into the MBTI, it goes into astrology, all of this kind of stuff. And now you've got guys talking about saying, oh, there are literal demons stalking the earth because we've become so decadent and debauched now. I mean, I just find it fascinating that these guys, there seems to be a real turn against rationality, which I find both interesting and also quite disturbing in a way, because these guys seem to really buy this. But my point is, my issue with Purple Pill is also that there is no body of woe manifesto. There is no, this is what we think. This is our counterpoint to Red Pill ideas. This is actually how it should be. This is our Bible. I mean, these upstream guys have been going for 2 or 3 years, and there's nothing except for a few blog posts.
All of them shitting on Rollo anyway.
Really their part, because I think yeah, exactly. I mean, I think if you're going to come up against, Rollo's body of work or the body of work of the Red Pill and say it's all yes, then you've got to come up with something credible in turn to say this is our response to that, and they don't do that.
Yeah,
which is weird, because you've written how many books now, Troy? You said you had 10 on the docket altogether, haven't you? I haven't even managed to get through them all yet, but. And how long did it take you to write all those?
I've been writing. The first one I did back in 2014. 2014, I published 7 Laws of Seduction, which was my first one. And I think I've 12 titles now. I mean, quite short. Some of those are relatively short books, up to things like I've got one called How to Be an Arsehole, which is upwards of 50,000 words. Some of them are somewhat shorter than that. But it's really just a question.
But the point is, like, coming up with a body of work is not an insurmountable task.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're losing Troy here. He's catching up. So anyways, we got to cut this off. I'm going to be on a terrestrial radio show here in about a half an hour. So, if there's any interest, Jon, if you want to sort of have a debate or something like that on your channel,
Rollo, let me ask you this. So here's the deal. Guys in the chat watching right now, just give me a number 7 in the chat if you will watch a post Rule 0 breakdown right after this, and I'll open up the phone lines for you guys to call in and we can have a discussion about this. Give me a 7 in the chat. Let me know if you would come watch it literally right after this. And if so, George, and I see Ivan Thrones in the chat as well, spazzing out. You guys, I don't know if you can hear me, but I know you guys could just call in and get over to my show. And looks like there's tons of 7s, so looks like I'm doing it.
All right, guys.
All right, good luck, man.
I want to thank Rich for being a part of this. Gosh, this was a real quick 2 hours. Anyways, I'm sure probably people are going to want to talk about this more, but as of this podcast, I'm done with this. All right. I just wanted to throw this shit out there, and people wanted to have some sort of, closure with this. This is my closure. Okay.
There's your red meat, you savages. I hope it was worth it.
Yeah. Also, let's see, what else do I have here? Modern Life Dating. Here's your plug, John.
All right, so I'm a real deal coach, man. I have making such massive life changes. I actually just had dinner with a student who actually flew all the way out to Tokyo. I deal with guys who are making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year plus. These guys are getting real deal, serious businessmen who come out to see me. Ben flew all the way from Boston. I had Jimmy fly out from the UK. If you want to be a part of the inner circle that I operate, you want to go to modernlifedating.com/body language and get on the waiting list for Body Language Mastery Q3, September 27th, September 28th, September 29th, September 30th, and October 1st are the only 5 days that you will be allowed to get in. After that, we will have 3 weeks of live Q&A webinars like we're doing now, where Rollo Tomassi, Ryan, I'm sure Troy will join, Rich Cooper, all this. You get to come in and chat with us behind private doors, ask us all of your nitty-gritty red pill questions, and we're going to get you sorted out. That also includes the head-to-toe breakdown of female body language that lets you understand a female's body language and determine whether or not she's sexually attracted to you or not. And we get a private men's only Facebook group. Again, you're going to go to modernlifedating.com/body language. It is right here on the screen. That's all I got to say. After this is over, I'm going to be on my channel, Modern Life Dating. I'm going to open up the phone lines and have everybody call in and give me your take on what do you think is going on. And it's going to be a damn good time. So come on over. Come on over, baby.
We should have the all dog or Rule Zero show.
Dude, it would be hilarious. These guys would sleep through half of it.
Ryan, go ahead. I got you up there now.
Yeah, the newsletter's been on a bit of hiatus because I'm like Rollo. I got to focus on the book. But this week coming out, I've got I'm going to start releasing some snippets, talking a bit on there. So feel free if you haven't subscribed yet. It's ryanstone.com/newsletter. Enjoy your chat with these guys. I'm not going to lie. I haven't seen anything from them that provides any value to my life. So give it 12 months. And if they're not bankrupt, then we can talk. Mm-hmm. Have fun. I'm going to help guys get laid. I got 5 to 7 years worth of thousands of guys talking about stuff that help them rekindle their relationships with their wives, move on past divorce, de-estrange themselves from their children, or just get laid for the first time in their lives. And it's a slog getting this stuff all out into a digestible format on the internet. So I don't have time much for arguing with Ivan over whether Ninja Samurai Warriors or this or that, or Bruno on whether taking her to the dance means Nelly Bowles did whatever. I'm already embarrassed for these 2 hours, but what the hey, every now and then we got to build a brand. So here you guys are. We're better than Anthony because we're not insane. Sign up to our coaching services. I'll leave it at that.
Great endorsement. Troy, go ahead. If you can talk.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitter regularly, so follow me on Gay Playboy. And as I mentioned before, I've got a bunch of books out which are all about the sexual marketplace and all of those kinds of good things. So you can buy those in a pack which is called Renegade Dating Blueprint. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll be able to see the link there, and also daily free email as well, which is every day during the week, where I give a free article with and good stuff like that every day. So just do sign up for that as well.
Cool. All right, and as you guys already know, there's my channel right there. Thank you guys for being a part of this. I hope this answered some questions for people. I really don't like doing these things. As you know, I'm more about giving you guys real content instead of talking about crap like this. So I apologize to anybody who was coming today looking for some real content. So anyways, hopefully this cleared the air for a lot of guys. I am working on my 4th book. It is The Rational Male. It's going to be called Religion. I've decided that's going to be the title. I'm just going to call it that. It's going to be the 4th book in the series. It's out for my first round of edits right now. Like I said before, this is when all the real work gets done. You got Ryan, you putting out your first book. This is the freaking real school right here, man. So that said, I'll be working on that. I'm finally back in studio again. I'm getting things set up in here. I'm planning on doing an Ask Me Anything, an AMA, on Wednesday of this coming week. I will also be on with Pat Campbell tomorrow for our regular show for the Rational Male 101. And so check that out at 4:30 Eastern on this channel that you're watching right now, which is my channel, The Rational Male. And so I think that's about it. Guys, thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for putting up with this BS. Again, John, if you have something that's going on your channel, just inform me and I'll tweet it out.
I'm going out like literally as soon as we end. I'm going live on my channel.
Oh, and the other thing is, I will check my Twitter feed in another half an hour. Actually, in another 20 minutes, I will be on Into the Gap, which is a AM terrestrial radio show. It's also live cast on online. Look for the link in my Twitter feed here momentarily. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Bye bye.